Today I have the opportunity to sit down with former governor of the state of Mississippi, Phil Bryant. While Phil Bryant was the governor, he signed into law a ban on abortion after 15 weeks. This law is now being argued in front of the United States Supreme Court, and for the first time in nearly 30 years, we have a real opportunity to see the overturning of Roe v. Wade. Governor Bryant, thank you for joining me today. We're in Washington, D.C. right now, while the Supreme Court hears arguments regarding legislation that you passed while you were the governor of the great state of Mississippi.
Yeah.
And the legislation bans abortion after 15 weeks. Up until this point, this country has been governed by Roe v. Wade, abortion on demand in all 50 states in the union. So why is today, as the Supreme Court hears these arguments, why is it so significant?
Well, I think so many things came together. I was listening to the arguments this morning, and one of the judges was saying there shouldn't be any political pressuring on the Supreme Court, and I had to smile because how many court cases has activist judges been a part of because what was politically popular at the time, or how many bad decisions have they made? The Supreme Court once ruled in the Dred Scott case that human beings were property. And so, yeah, they made really bad decisions that had to be turned around. They once ruled that there was a right of the states to prevent suffrage of women. So they were saying, well, yeah, you can stop women from voting and African Americans. And so they had made bad decisions, and they made a bad decision in Roe v. Wade in 1973. There is just simply no authority in the Constitution to prohibit states from regulating abortion, particularly during that 15-week period. Now, viability can be an issue, and you could argue that one way or the other. It's a scientific idea. And oh, by the way, I think science has helped us a great deal. But if this court looks at the Constitution and just simply asks, where is the authority? Where are all these 48 years that we've been telling the states, you do not have the rights to regulate abortion, to protect the unborn in your state? If they do that, we will prevail.
What was the significance of the 15-week mark? Why the 15-week ban?
I think, again, it's viability. So the court had said after up until 15 weeks, a child's not viable to live outside of the womb, so you can destroy it without any responsibility, and the states can't prohibit abortion doctors from doing that, or abortionists from doing that. And so scientists began to tell us now you're looking at 22 weeks, 23 weeks of viability, children that are born at a pound and they survive and go on to live a very successful life. So again, it is that 15-week. Can the state make a regulation or rule in the authority of the 10th Amendment to control abortion at the point where they believe it's not viable for that child to exist or to be alive? And of course, those of us of faith, there's a great argument. I heard Justice Sotomayor question our Consul General this morning, our Solicitor General, and say it's a question of your faith and your religious beliefs. Well, it has to be. Those of us, or people of faith, believe that we are ordained to go and protect the innocent, that we are asked to go to the least among us, the least of these, and protect them. So certainly it is. But just that simple question, a Supreme Court justice would dare anyone to bring their faith into the chambers of the United States Supreme Court. We believe faith got us here and is going to sustain us.
That's great. How has this legislation, particularly the oral arguments today, put a spotlight on the state of Mississippi?
Well, I told people last night at a dinner that they often say if it happens in Mississippi, it can happen anywhere. It happened in Mississippi. I think God and the Spirit moved across that state. We're a people of faith. If you look at church attendance, Mississippi has some of the highest in the nation. There are people that truly believe in protecting the unborn. And so, again, we have great attorneys at our Attorney General's office. So if you look, Lynn Fitch, Attorney General, a strong woman who is before the Supreme Court today defending our case. Cindy Hyde-Smith, United States Senator, who had the opportunity to vote on 2 Supreme Court justices and realized how important those votes were going to be. Representative Becky Curry, a nurse, an OBGYN nurse, who's helped deliver hundreds and hundreds of babies. So all of those women came together. All those 3 remarkable women are here before the United States Supreme Court, or their bills are before the United States Supreme Court, defending the life of the unborn. So it is very important that people look at Mississippi as a leader in this movement to protect the innocent. And we think we're at the point of the spear in the pro-life movement in America just now.
The abortion industry has done everything possible to attack you, to attack your cabinet, to attack all those that are leading and fighting for the unborn. What has the last 3 years been like for those that were closest with you, part of your cabinet, and all the elected officials that are behind this?
Our faith tells us to be thankful in times of challenges, and it's one of the hardest parts of being a faithful Christian is to say, thank you, Lord, for this challenge. And I've done so many times. It has been tough. We've received threats. Their condemnation in the secular media is fairly constant. But we understand what we're fighting for. There have been 62 million children that have been murdered, their lives taken away in a horrible manner. And so we're fighting for the unborn in this nation, for those that can't protect themselves, against all the secular media, against most of society or that portion of society that has been led to believe that this is a woman's right to take a life of another human being, that the states can't even do anything about protecting it. So I have been honored to be able to stand for this cause. And God oftentimes picks the least among us to protect. And we are always supposed to stand for them, and that's exactly what we've been doing.
The late Justice Scalia and current Justice Clarence Thomas have both been on record saying that the Constitution does not guarantee the right to an abortion, and that the federal government does not have the right to take this jurisdiction and authority away from the states. Do you think that this case is not just about abortion, but is also about states' rights?
Well, it certainly is. And states' rights was clear. Now, it has a bad connotation because during the segregation movement, the southern states used it to try to enforce segregation. But that was ultimately defeated by the United States Supreme Court and Brown v. the Board of Education, for example, ordering that young African American kids could go to school. It took the Supreme Court to stand up for those that could not often stand for themselves. So, yeah, if you look at Clarence Thomas, what a remarkable American story, a young African American child that becomes Supreme Court Justice. What a courageous man he has been, and how he's standing up for those things that he believes are within the Constitution, that were the Founding Fathers' ideals of what we know America to be today, not something that was made up for convenience. And so if you look at Judge Scalia, who I had a great opportunity to duck hunt with in Mississippi, what a wonderful man. We never talked about legal matters, but yes, he just simply said, lay aside your belief. If you're pro-life or pro-abortion, lay that aside. Show us in the Constitution where there's a prohibition against the states regulating abortion. It does not exist. The right for an abortion does not exist in the Constitution. I think the Founding Fathers contemplated some of those ideas, but they left it to the states. They said, we will allow the states to make laws protecting, if they so choose to do so, in the democratic fashion that is America in this great republic. We'll let the democratic process work. And if they look at that and listen to those two great legal minds, and Judge Scalia and Judge Thomas, then again, we will win this case.
We're both optimistic individuals. We're men of faith, so we should be optimistic. Let's say that justice prevails here, and that they uphold the Mississippi law. How do you see this playing itself out, not just in Mississippi, but the other states across America?
I think there's a number of states that have already said in their state law that once Roe v. Wade may be overturned, that automatically there'll be a prohibition on abortion in their states. So you'll see maybe 10 to a dozen states that will, as soon as the decision comes down, if it's in favor of the Mississippi law, they will immediately begin to regulate abortions in their state. And exactly what that looks like will be up to the people within that state. It will be the state's right through the democratic process to determine, is that 15 weeks, is it 6 weeks, is it a heartbeat, is it conception? And there will be some states that will make that ruling that I will disagree with. California, I'm sure, will have very liberal abortion laws, in New York and others, but that is the right of the states and the people who live there. Founding fathers inverted the pyramid of power, and they said the people are the sovereigns. They will rule, and we, those of us in government, will be the public servants. And so it is time to let the sovereigns again speak through their state legislators on matters such as abortion.
Governor Bryant, I often tell my people at Coral Ridge that we are saved as individuals and our faith is deeply personal, but it's never to remain private. We are called as Christians to live out a public faith, regardless of what God has called you to or where God's called you. As a man of faith, how have you lived out your faith, and how has your faith informed you as a politician, as a leader, and continuing to serve this nation in various capacities?
Your faith gives you strength in times of challenge, when you believe that you are failing, when you don't believe that you are prepared to take on these great challenges of the day. It is the faith in God, it is that small voice within your heart that telling you, I am with you. And I will always be there with you in the most difficult of times. So as the world seems to be attacking you, as you hear those demonic voices that says, you can't do this, leave this alone. Don't make a public profession of your faith. In politics, as soon as you do that, the media is going to target you. So it's much easier to stay quiet. You must find your voice, and the Holy Spirit is the only thing in this universe that will do that for you.
Well, I just want to thank you. You have been a champion, continue to be a champion for religious liberty, for the sanctity of human life, and we're praying for you and for all the leaders that are continue to champion this cause, especially for the most vulnerable, the unborn. And God be with you
Thank you
and
so
all
much. And
of
thank
our
you for what
leaders.
y'all do. Thank you so very, very much.